Alina Rodriguez had always been good at reading people. It was what made her one of the best security officers in the world. For the past 3 years, she had protected politicians, celebrities, and business leaders. But nothing had prepared her for this assignment. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Her boss wanted to see her immediately. When she walked into his office, she found him sitting with 2 people she had never seen before. One was a tall woman in a black suit who looked like she had never smiled in her life. The other was a man with strange, almost glowing eyes. "Alina," her boss said, "meet Agent Thompson from the International Security Division, and this is Dr. Kane from the ... Special Medical Department." Alina shook their hands, noticing how cold Dr. Kane's skin felt. Something was different about him, but she couldn't put her finger on what. "We have a very important job for you," Agent Thompson said. "You'll be protecting someone very special. Someone who isn't from around here." Alina raised an eyebrow. "Not from around here? She's from another planet," Dr. Kane said simply. "Her name is Queen Zerothal, and she's visiting Earth for peace talks. These talks are more important than you can imagine." Alina had heard rumors about contact with other worlds, but she had never believed them. Sitting in this room, she realized the rumors were true. Her heart started beating faster, but she kept her face calm. "What does she look like?" Alina asked. "Beautiful," Dr. Kane said. "Her people are called Zephyrians. Look almost human, but their skin glows softly like moonlight on water. They're peaceful people, but very proud. The Queen is coming here because her planet wants to trade with Earth." Agent Thompson leaned forward. "Alina, we chose you because you're the best at what you do. But you need to understand something. This mission is top secret. You can't tell anyone, not even your family, about what you're really doing." Alina nodded. She had done secret missions before. "The Queen will be staying at the Manhattan Diplomatic Complex for 1 month," Agent Thompson continued. "Your job is simple. Keep her safe. Watch everyone who comes near her. Trust no one completely." 3 days later, Alina stood in the lobby of the Manhattan Diplomatic Complex, waiting for the Queen to arrive. The building was like a small city, with floors for different countries and now, apparently different planets. When the Queen's car pulled up, Alina felt her breath catch. Queen Zerothal stepped out, and she was indeed beautiful. She looked like a human woman in her 30s, but her skin had a soft pearl-like glow. Her hair was silver white and seemed to move like water. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, and they shone with an inner light. "Your Majesty," Alina said, bowing slightly. "Ma'am." "Alina Rodriguez, I'll be in charge of your security during your stay." The Queen smiled, and when she did, her glow became a little brighter.
"I'll lead you, Alina."
"I've heard good things about you." The voice was musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Lena felt herself relax a little. This job wouldn't be so difficult after all. But as the days passed, Alina began to notice things, small things, strange things. During the Queen's first week, everything seemed perfect. The Queen attended meetings with world leaders, had dinners with important people, and gave speeches about peace between their worlds. She was graceful, intelligent, and seemed to know exactly what to say. But Alina was trained to watch everything, and what she saw worried her. Sometimes when the Queen thought no one was looking, she would stop walking and put her hand on the wall, as if she needed support. Her glowing skin would flicker like a light bulb that was about to burn out. When she spoke at length, she would sometimes pause in the middle of sentences, as if she had forgotten what she was saying. Alina also noticed that the queen's personal doctor, Dr. Morden, was always nearby. He was a tall, thin man with the same glowing skin as the queen, but his glow was steadier, stronger. He carried a small black bag with him everywhere, and Alina often saw him giving the queen small injections. "Vitamin supplements, Dr. Morden?" explained when Alina asked about them. "The queen needs them to stay healthy in your Earth atmosphere." But Alina had protected enough VIPs to know when someone was lying. Dr. Morden's size didn't meet hers when he spoke. His hands shook slightly when he prepared the injections. Another thing bothered Alina. The queen's staff said she loved a particular type of fruit from her home planet, but when it was served at dinner, Alina noticed the queen only pretended to eat it. She would cut it into small pieces and move it around her plate, but very little actually went into her mouth. Alina started keeping a notebook, writing down everything she observed. The queen's energy seemed to drop in the afternoons. Her glow would fade, and she would excuse herself for rest periods that lasted exactly 2 hours. During these times, no one was allowed to disturb her except Dr. Morden. One evening, Alina was walking past the queen's private rooms when she heard voices. She stopped and listened, even though she knew it was wrong. The queen was speaking in her own language. Her voice sounded different. Worried. Scared. Dr. Morden replied in the same language, but his voice was urgent, almost angry. Alina couldn't understand the words, but she could hear the emotion. Something was wrong. Alina had been studying the Zephyrian language in her free time, using translation programs and books. She had learned only a few words, but she thought she heard one she recognized. Dying. That night, Alina couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about everything she had seen. The queen was sick. She was sure of it, but why hide it? Why pretend everything was fine? The next morning, Alina watched the queen even more carefully. During a breakfast meeting with the Secretary of State, the queen's hand trembled as she lifted her cup of tea. Her glow flickered 3 times in 10 minutes. When she stood to leave, Alina saw her grip the table for support. But to everyone else, the queen appeared perfectly healthy and in control. She smiled at the right moments, asked intelligent questions, never showed any sign of weakness. Alina realized that Queen Zerotho was an amazing actress. She was putting on a performance every single day, and only someone watching as carefully. As Alina would notice the cracks in her perfect facade, the question was, why? What was so important that an alien queen would come to Earth while clearly being unwell? And what would happen if Alina was right, and the queen's condition was getting worse? Alina decided she needed to find out the truth, not just for her job, but because she was starting to care about the queen as a person. Behind all the royal dignity and alien mystery, Alina could see someone who was suffering in silence. She had no idea that discovering the truth would change everything, not just for the queen, but for the entire relationship between Earth and the stars beyond. 3 weeks had passed since Queen Zerethal arrived on Earth. Alina's notebook was now filled with observations, but she still didn't know what was really happening. All she knew was that the queen was getting weaker, even though she tried to hide it. The most important day of the queen's visit had finally arrived. The United Nations Security Council was meeting to discuss a historic trade agreement between Earth and the Zephyrian planet. This meeting would decide if humans and Zephyrians would become allies, or if the opportunity would be lost forever. Alina woke up early that morning with a strange feeling in her stomach. Something felt wrong, but she couldn't explain what. She had learned to trust her instincts over the years, and they were telling her to be extra careful today. When she went to check on the queen, she found her sitting in front of a large mirror, having her hair styled by one of her assistants. Queen looked beautiful as always, wearing a flowing silver dress that seemed to shimmer in the light. But Alina noticed that the queen's usual glow was dimmer than normal. "Good morning, Your Majesty," Alina said. "How are you feeling today?" The queen turned and smiled, but Alina could see tiredness in her large, luminous eyes. "I'm perfectly fine, Alina. Just a little nervous about today's meeting. It's very important for my people." Alina nodded, but she wasn't convinced. She had seen the queen handle much more stressful situations without breaking a sweat. Today was different. Morden appeared in the doorway, carrying his ever-present black bag. "Your Majesty, It's time for your morning supplement. Alina watched as the doctor prepared another injection. His hands were shaking more than usual, and he kept glancing at Alina nervously.
Hey.
When he gave the queen the shot, she winced slightly, which was unusual. Normally, she barely seemed to notice them. "You sure everything is okay?" Alina asked Dr. Morden quietly. "Of course," he replied quickly. "The queen is in perfect health. Today will go smoothly." But his voice cracked slightly when he said it, and Alina knew he was lying. The meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. at the UN building. Alina had spent days planning the security arrangements. Every entrance was covered, every person attending had been thoroughly checked, and backup plans were in place for any possible emergency. As they traveled to the UN building, Alina sat across from the Queen in the armored car. The Queen stared out the window at the New York City streets, but Alina could see she wasn't really looking at anything. Her mind seemed to be somewhere else entirely. "Your Majesty," Alina said gently, "if you're not feeling well, we can postpone the meeting. I'm sure everyone would understand." The Queen's eyes snapped back to focus on Alina. For a moment, her carefully maintained composure slipped, and Alina saw something that looked like desperation. "No," the Queen said firmly. "This meeting cannot be delayed.
Out.
Too much depends on it. My people are counting on me." Alina wanted to ask more questions, but they had arrived at the UN building. She pushed her concerns aside and focused on doing her job, the security. Council chamber was packed with representatives from every major nation on Earth. News cameras were positioned around the room. Alina could feel the tension in the air. This was history in the making. Queen Zarathal took her place at the podium, and Alina positioned herself nearby where she could see the entire room. The Queen looked magnificent under the bright lights, her silver dress catching the light beautifully, and her skin glowing softly. "Ladies and gentlemen," the Queen began, her musical voice carrying clearly through the room, "I come before you today, not as a stranger from another world, but as someone who believes in the power of friendship between different peoples." Alina felt herself relax slightly. The Queen sounded strong and confident. Maybe her worries had been for nothing. The Queen continued speaking about the benefits of trade between their worlds, about sharing knowledge and resources, about building a future where humans and Zephyrians could work together. Her words were beautiful and inspiring. Alina could see that everyone in the room was captivated, but then Alina noticed something. Queen's glow was starting to flicker more frequently. Her voice, while still strong, had developed a slight tremor. Small drops of sweat appeared on her forehead, which was strange because Zephyrians rarely sweated. "The partnership between our worlds," the Queen was saying, "will bring prosperity and peace for generations to come. We can learn from each other, grow together, and create something beautiful that neither of our peoples could achieve alone." Alina saw Dr. Morden shift nervously in his seat. He was gripping his black bag tightly, and his own glow was pulsing rapidly, which Alina had learned was a sign of anxiety in Zephyrians. The Queen paused to take a sip of water, and Alina noticed her hand was shaking slightly. The Queen cleared her throat and continued, "But this partnership requires trust. It requires honesty. It requires us to be vulnerable with each other and to admit when we need help." As she spoke these words, the Queen's voice grew softer, almost wistful. Alina wondered if she was talking about more than just politics. "We must be willing to show our true selves," the Queen continued, "even when we're afraid of what others might think. Even when we're scared that our weaknesses might be seen as failures." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. Something in the Queen's tone had changed. It sounded almost like she was saying goodbye. The Queen took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders. "Together, we can build bridges across the stars. Together, we can create a future where no one has to face their challenges alone." And then it happened. The Queen stopped speaking mid-sentence. Her eyes went wide and she grabbed the podium with both hands. Her glow began to pulse erratically like a strobe light gone wrong. The room fell silent as everyone realized something was terribly wrong, Your Majesty, Alina called out, taking a step forward. The Queen tried to speak, but no words came out. Her legs began to shake, and Alina could see her fighting to stay upright. The Queen's beautiful silver dress began to lose its shimmer as her glow faded rapidly. Alina rushed forward just as the queen collapsed. She caught her before she hit the floor, feeling how light and fragile the queen's body was. The queen's skin had turned a frightening shade of gray, and her breathing was shallow and rapid. "Get Dr. Morden!" Alina shouted. "Someone call for medical help." The room erupted in chaos. People were shouting, cameras were flashing, and security guards were trying to clear the area. Alina held the queen in her arms. Feeling helpless as the most powerful being she had ever met, lay unconscious and vulnerable. Dr. Morden arrived within seconds, his face pale with fear. He immediately began checking the queen's vital signs with strange, glowing instruments from his bag. Lena could hear him muttering in his own language, and the few words she understood filled her with dread. "What's wrong with her?" Lena demanded. Dr. Morden looked up at Alina with tears in his eyes. "She's dying," he whispered, "and there's nothing I can do to stop it." Alina's heart stopped. In that moment, she realized that all her suspicions had been correct. The queen had been hiding something enormous, something that could change everything. And now, with the queen unconscious and possibly dying, Alina was the only one who might be able to uncover the truth and save her. Alina sat in the hospital waiting room, her hands still shaking from what had happened at the UN building. It had been 6 hours since Queen Zarathal collapsed, and the doctors still hadn't given any updates. The special medical facility looked like something from a science fiction movie, with equipment she had never seen before and doctors who spoke in hushed tones about alien biology. Dr. Morden paced back and forth in the hallway, his glow flickering with worry. Every few minutes he would disappear into the queen's room, then come back out looking more distressed than before. Alina could tell he was hiding something big, but every time she tried to talk to him, he would just shake his head and walk away. "She's stable for now," one of the human doctors finally told Alina, "but we don't understand her condition. We've never seen anything like it before." Alina nodded, but her mind was already working. If the doctors couldn't help, then she would have to find another way. She had been trained to solve problems, and this was the biggest problem she had ever faced. Late that night, when the hospital was quiet and most of the staff had gone home, Alina made a decision. She was going to search the queen's private rooms at the diplomatic complex. If there were answers to be found, that's where they would be. Getting into the queen's quarters wasn't difficult. Alina had the security codes, and the building was practically empty. But as she walked through the elegant rooms, she felt like she was invading someone's privacy. The queen had trusted her, and here she was going through her personal things. The queen's bedroom was simple, but beautiful. The walls were covered with pictures of her home planet showing purple skies and silver trees that looked like they were made of crystal. On her bedside table was a small device that projected holographic images of what Alina assumed were the queen's family members. Alina started her search in the queen's study. The room was filled with books, both human and Zephyr, and Alina noticed that many of the human books were about medicine and biology. Why would a queen be reading medical textbooks? Behind the desk, Alina found something interesting. The wall panel looked slightly different from the others. When she pressed on it, it slid open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside were several small vials filled with a glowing blue liquid, and a stack of papers covered in Zephyrian writing. Alina carefully took photos of the documents with her phone, then examined the vials. The liquid inside seemed to pulse with its own light, like a tiny heartbeat. She had never seen anything like it before. The next morning, Alina contacted Dr. Helen Chang, a friend who worked in the university's alien language department. Dr. Chang was one of the few people on Earth who could read Zephyrian script. "These documents are medical records," Dr. Chang explained over the phone after Alina sent her the photos. "But they're written in an old form of Zephyrian that's rarely used anymore. Give me a few hours to translate them properly." While she waited, Alina went back to the hospital. The queen was awake, but very weak. Her once bright glow was now barely visible, like a candle about to go out. Alina, the queen whispered when she saw her. "I'm sorry you had to see me like this." Alina sat down beside the bed. "Your Majesty, I need to ask you something. Are you sick? Really sick?" The queen's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't answer. Instead, she turned her head away and stared at the wall. "I know you're hiding something," Alina continued gently. "And I think Dr. Morden knows too. Please, Let me help you. That's what I'm here for. The Queen was quiet for a long moment. Then, in a voice so soft, Alina had to lean forward to hear. She said. Some secrets are too dangerous to share, Alina. Some truths could destroy everything. Before Alina could ask what she meant, Dr. Morden entered the room. When he saw Alina, his expression darkened. You shouldn't be here, he said. Coldly, the Queen needs rest. Alina stood up, but she didn't leave. Dr. Morden, I found the vials in the Queen's room. I know you've been giving her more than just vitamins. Dr. Morden's face went pale. You had no right to search her private quarters. I had every right, Alina replied firmly. I'm her security officer. It's my job to protect her, and I can't do that if I don't know what I'm protecting her from. The Queen raised her hand weakly. It's all right, Morden. She knows too much now. We might as well tell her the truth. Dr. Morden looked like he was about to argue, but then he saw the exhaustion in the Queen's eyes and nodded sadly. The Queen is dying, he said quietly. She has a condition called Lux deterioration syndrome. It affects the organs that create our bioluminescence. Without that light, we cannot survive. Alina felt like the air had been knocked out of her lungs. How long does she have? Without treatment, maybe a few weeks, Dr. Morden replied. With the experimental medicine we've been using, we've managed to slow it down, but it's not a cure. It's just buying time. Alina's phone buzzed. It was a message from Dr. Chang. She had finished translating the documents. The medical records confirm it, Dr. Chang's message read. The Queen has been sick for over 2 years. But there's something else. The documents mention that this condition affects the royal bloodline. If the Queen dies, it could throw the entire government into chaos. Alina looked back at the Queen, who was watching her with sad, tired eyes. That's why you came to Earth, Alina said, understanding flooding through her. You weren't just here for trade negotiations. You were looking for a cure? Queen nodded slowly. Human medical science is more advanced than ours in some ways. We hoped that working together, we might find a solution. But as you can see, time is running out. Alina felt the determination growing inside her. Then we need to work faster. Morden, what exactly have you been trying? What treatments have you used? Dr. Morden hesitated, then opened his black bag. Inside were more vials of the glowing blue liquid, along with several strange medical devices. This is concentrated bioluminescent essence, he explained. It's extracted from healthy Zephyrian volunteers. When injected, it temporarily restores the Queen's glow and gives her strength. The effects are getting weaker each time, and we're running out of volunteers. Lena studied the vials, her mind racing. Have you tried combining it with human medicine? Maybe there's something we haven't thought of yet. It's too dangerous, Dr. Morden said. We don't know how human treatments might interact with Zephyrian biology, but we're running out of options, Elena pointed out. If we don't try something, the Queen will die anyway. The Queen reached out and took Elena's hand. Her skin felt cold and fragile. Elena, there's something else you need to know. If I die, my people will think that Earth couldn't protect me. They'll lose faith in humans, and any chance of peace between our worlds will be lost. Billions of lives depend on finding a solution. Lena squeezed the Queen's hand gently. Then we won't let that happen. We're going to find a way to save you, and we're going to do it together. As Alina left the hospital that night, she knew that everything had changed. This wasn't just about protecting one person anymore. It was about saving 2 entire worlds from a future filled with mistrust and isolation. And somehow, she had to find a way to do the impossible. Alina couldn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the Queen's fading glow and heard Dr. Morden's words echoing in her head. Maybe a few weeks. It wasn't enough time. There had to be something they were missing. Something that could save the Queen's life. At 3 a.m, Alina gave up on sleep and drove back to the hospital. The building was quiet except for the soft humming of alien medical equipment. She walked through the empty hallways, her footsteps echoing off the walls. When she reached the Queen's floor, she found Dr. Morden sitting in a chair outside the Queen's room. His head was in his hands, and his shoulders were shaking. Alina had never seen him look so defeated. Dr. Morden? Alina said softly. He looked up, and Alina was shocked to see tears streaming down his face. His glow was almost completely gone, which she had learned meant he was either very sick or very upset. "She's getting worse," he whispered. "The treatments aren't working anymore. I've tried everything I know, but nothing is helping." Alina sat down in the chair next to him. "Tell me the truth about everything. No more secrets. If we're going to save her, I need to know exactly what we're dealing with." Dr. Morden was quiet for a long time. Then slowly he began to speak. "I've been the Queen's doctor for 15 years, he said. I watched her grow from a young princess into a wise ruler. When she first got sick 2 years ago, I thought it was just stress from her royal duties. But the tests showed something much worse." He paused and wiped his eyes. Lux deterioration syndrome is a genetic condition that runs in the royal family. The Queen's grandfather had it, and her great-grandmother before him. Always skips a generation, and it always ends the same way. Lena felt a chill run down her spine. How many people know about this? "Only a few," Dr. Morden replied. "The Queen's closest advisors, her family, and me. We've kept it secret because if our people knew the Queen was dying, it would cause panic. Our entire society is built around the idea that the royal family is blessed with eternal life." Alina stared at him in disbelief. "Eternal life? But that's impossible." "Not eternal in the way humans think of it," Dr. Morden explained. "But our royal bloodline typically lives for thousands of years. The Queen is only 300 years old, which is very young for our people. She should have centuries left to live." Elena's mind was reeling. The Queen was 300 years old, but looked like she was in her 30s. And she was supposed to live for thousands of years. The scope of what they were dealing with was bigger than she had imagined. "When did you decide to come to Earth?" Elena asked. "About a year ago," Dr. Morden said. "The Queen was getting sicker, and I had tried everything our medical science could offer. But I had been studying human medicine, and I noticed that your scientists had made breakthroughs in genetic therapy that we hadn't achieved yet." Elena leaned forward. "So the whole diplomatic mission was a cover story?" Dr. Morden nodded sadly. "The Queen wanted to help her people by forming an alliance with Earth, but the real reason for coming here was to find a cure. She's been meeting secretly with human doctors and scientists, hoping they could help where our medicine had failed." Elena felt angry suddenly. "Why didn't you tell me this from the beginning? I could have helped. I could have arranged meetings with the best doctors on Earth." "The Queen forbade it," Dr. Morden replied. She was afraid that if too many people knew the truth, word would get back to our planet. She wanted to find a cure quietly, and then return home as if nothing had happened." Elena stood up and started pacing. "But that plan isn't working." She collapsed in front of the entire United Nations. "How are you going to explain that?" we told. "The media that it was exhaustion from her diplomatic duties," Dr. Morden said. "But you're right. Can't hide this much longer." Elena stopped pacing and looked directly at Dr. Morden. "What exactly have the human doctors said? Have they found anything that might help?" Dr. Morden's glow flickered with what Elena now recognized as hope mixed with fear. "There's a team of researchers at Johns Hopkins University who think they might have found something. They've been working on a treatment that combines gene therapy with stem cell regeneration." "That sounds promising," Elena said. "Why haven't you tried it?" "'Cause it's never been tested on a Zephyrian before," Dr. Morden replied. "The doctors say there's a 50% chance it could cure the Queen completely. But there's also a 50% chance it could kill her immediately." Elena felt her heart sink. "Those aren't very good odds. They're better than what we have." "Now," Dr. Morden said quietly, "without any treatment, the Queen will definitely die within the next 2 weeks. With this experimental treatment, she has a chance." Elena sat back down, trying to process everything she had learned. "Does the Queen know about this treatment?" "Yes," Dr. Morden said, "but she's afraid to try it. She says that if she dies during the treatment, it will prove to her people that humans are dangerous and can't be trusted. She's worried it will ruin any chance of peace between our worlds." Elena shook her head in frustration. "So she's willing to die to protect a political alliance?" "She's willing to die to protect billions of lives," Dr. Morden corrected. "If our peoples go to war instead of becoming allies, the consequences could be catastrophic for both sides." Elena stood up again, her mind made up. I need to talk to. Her? Right now? She's sleeping, Dr. Morden protested. The sedatives help with the pain. Then wake her up, Alina said firmly. This is too important to wait. Dr. Morden hesitated, then nodded. They went into the Queen's room together. The Queen looked so small and fragile lying in the hospital bed, connected to various machines that beeped softly in the darkness. Your Majesty, Alina said gently, touching the Queen's shoulder. The Queen's eyes opened slowly. She saw Alina. She tried to smile, but it was weak and tired. Alina, she whispered. What time is it? What's time for you to stop being a queen and start being a person who wants to live, Alina said bluntly. The Queen's eyes widened in surprise. What do you mean? Alina sat on the edge of the bed. Dr. Morden told me about the experimental treatment, about the 50-50 chance, and I think you should take it. The Queen shook her head weakly. I can't risk it. If I die during the treatment. If you don't try the treatment, you're going to die anyway, Alina interrupted. And when you do, your people will blame Earth for not being able to protect you. The result will be the same. The Queen was quiet for a moment, considering Alina's words. But if you try the treatment and it works, Alina continued, you'll live. You'll be able to return home healthy and strong. You can tell your people that Earth saved your life, not that we failed to protect you. Alina reached out and took the Queen's cold hand in hers. Your Majesty, I've spent weeks watching you suffer in silence. You've been carrying this burden, alone, trying to protect everyone else. But now it's time to let other people help protect you. The Queen looked into Alina's eyes, and for the first time since Alina had known her, she saw not a royal leader but a scared young woman who was facing the possibility of death. I'm frightened, Alina, the Queen admitted. What if the treatment doesn't work? What if I die and leave my people without a leader? Alina squeezed her hand gently. Then at least you'll have died fighting, and your people will know that you tried everything possible to come back to them. The Queen closed her eyes and took a shaky breath. When she opened them again, Alina could see a new determination there. All right, the Queen said softly. Let's try to save my life. The next morning, Alina found herself in a place she'd never expected to be, sitting in a secret meeting with some of the world's top medical researchers. The room was hidden deep inside Johns Hopkins Hospital, and everyone who entered had to sign papers promising never to talk about what they were about to do. Dr. Patricia Williams. The lead researcher was a small woman with kind eyes and graying hair. She had spent her entire career studying genetic diseases, but she had never worked on an alien patient before. I won't lie to you, Dr. Williams said, looking directly at Alina. This treatment is experimental even for humans. We've only tested it in laboratory conditions. Trying it on Queen Zarathal is like performing surgery while blindfolded. Alina felt her stomach tighten with worry. But you think it could work? The theory is sound, Dr. Williams replied. The Queen's condition is attacking the cells that produce her bioluminescence. Our treatment uses modified human stem cells to regenerate those damaged cells. If it works, her glow should return to normal and stay that way. Dr. Morden, who had been quiet during most of the meeting, finally spoke up. And if it doesn't work? Dr. Williams looked uncomfortable. The Queen's body might reject the human cells completely. If that happens, it could speed up the disease process. She could die within hours instead of weeks. Alina closed her eyes, trying to imagine telling the Queen that the treatment had failed. The thought made her feel sick. There's something else, Dr. Williams continued. If this treatment works, it will change everything we know about medicine. The combination of human and alien biology could lead to breakthroughs that save millions of lives on both worlds. Alina opened her eyes. And if it fails and word gets out that we tried an experimental treatment on an alien queen, it could destroy trust between our species forever. Dr. Williams said honestly. Alina realized that everyone in this room was taking an enormous risk, not just with the Queen's life, but with the future of 2 entire worlds. The treatment was scheduled for the next day. Alina spent that night with the Queen, who seemed calmer than she had in weeks. It was as if making the decision to try the treatment had lifted a weight off her shoulders. Alina, the Queen said, as they sat together in the quiet hospital room, I want you to know that whatever happens tomorrow, I'm grateful for everything you've done. Alina shook her head. Don't talk like that. You're going to be fine. The Queen smiled softly. I hope so. But if something goes wrong, I need you to do something for me. Anything, Alina said. I need you to tell my people the truth. Not the official story about diplomatic missions and trade agreements. Tell them that I came to Earth because I was dying and that humans tried to save my life. Tell them that your people cared enough about one alien queen to risk everything to help her. Alina felt tears building in her eyes. I promise. But you're going to tell them yourself when you get home. The morning of the treatment, Alina woke up early and went to check on the Queen. She found her sitting by the window, watching the sunrise over the city. It's beautiful, the Queen said when Alina joined her. I've been on Earth for a month, but I never took time to really look at. Your sun? It's different from ours, but just as warm. Alina sat down beside her. Are you ready? The Queen nodded. I think so. Dr. Morden has been preparing the combination of his treatments with the human medicine. Dr. Williams says that giving me both at the same time might increase our chances of success. An hour later, Alina found herself in an operating room unlike anything she had ever seen. Human doctors worked alongside Dr. Morden, using equipment from both worlds. The Queen lay on the table, looking peaceful despite all the machines surrounding her. We're going to start now, Dr. Williams announced to the room. Everyone ready? Alina watched from the observation window as the team began the treatment. First, they gave the Queen Dr. Morden's bioluminescent medicine. Then, slowly and carefully, they began the human gene therapy. For the first hour, everything seemed to go well. The Queen's vital signs remained stable, and her body didn't show any signs of rejecting the treatment. But Alina could see the tension on everyone's faces. They all knew that the real test would come later. In the second hour, something changed. The machines monitoring the Queen's condition began beeping faster. Dr. Williams frowned and checked the readings. Her bioluminescent levels are fluctuating, she announced. This could be normal, or it could mean the treatment isn't working. Alina felt her heart racing. Through the window, she could see the Queen's skin flickering between its normal glow and the gray color it had been when she collapsed. Should we stop the treatment? Dr. Morden asked, his voice tight with worry. Not yet, Dr. Williams replied. We need to give it more time. The third hour was the longest of Alina's life. She watched as the Queen's glow flickered on and off, like a broken light bulb. Sometimes it would return to its normal brightness, and Alina would feel hope. Then it would fade again, and fear would grip her heart. Dr. Morden was pacing back and forth, his own glow pulsing with anxiety. I can't. Watch this, he muttered. If she dies because of my decision to try this treatment, she would have died anyway, Alina reminded him. At least this way, she has a chance. In the fourth hour, something amazing happened. The Queen's glow suddenly became brighter than Alina had ever seen it. It was like watching the sun come out. From behind clouds, the machines started beeping in a different pattern, and Dr. Williams broke into a huge smile. It's working, she announced. Her bioluminescent levels are not just stable, they're actually stronger than normal. Alina felt tears of relief streaming down her face. Dr. Morden stopped pacing and stared at the monitors in disbelief. She really going to be okay? Alina asked. Better than okay, Dr. Williams replied. If these readings are correct, the treatment hasn't just stopped the disease, it's reversed it completely. Her cells are regenerating at an incredible rate. 2 days later, Alina sat beside the Queen's bed as she slowly woke up from the deep sleep that had followed the treatment. When the Queen opened her eyes, Alina was amazed to see that they were brighter and more beautiful than ever. How do you feel? Alina asked softly. The Queen smiled and her glow became warm and steady. I feel like myself again. No, I feel better than I have in years. Dr. Williams entered the room with a tablet full of test results. Your Majesty, I have some wonderful news. Treatment was completely successful. Not only is the disease gone, but your bioluminescent systems are now stronger than they were before you got sick. The Queen sat up in bed, moving with an energy that Alina hadn't seen since the first day they met. Does this mean I can go home? In a few days, Dr. Williams replied. I want to monitor you a little longer to make sure everything remains stable." Over the next week, Alina watched as the queen transformed back into the strong, confident leader she was meant to be. But something had changed in their relationship too. They were no longer just a guard in her charge. They had become true friends. On the day before the queen was scheduled to return to her home planet, she asked Alina to walk with her in the hospital garden. "I've been thinking about what to tell my people," the queen said as they sat on a bench surrounded by flowers. "You were right, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to tell them that I was dying and that humans saved my life." Alina smiled. "What do you think they'll say?" "I think they'll be amazed," the queen replied. "I think they'll want to learn everything they can from your medical science. This treatment that saved my life could help other Zephyrians too." Lena realized that the queen's illness, which had seemed like such a disaster, had actually become the foundation for a new kind of partnership between their worlds. "Will I see you again?" Alina asked. The queen took her hand. "Alina, I would like you to come to my planet as an ambassador. You've seen me at my weakest, and you've helped me become strong again. I can't think of anyone I'd rather have representing Earth on my world." Alina felt an excitement building in her chest. "Are you serious? Completely serious?" the queen replied with a laugh that sounded like music. "After all, you saved my life. The least I can do is show you the stars." As Alina watched the queen's ship disappear into the night sky a few days later, she smiled. She had started this assignment thinking she was just protecting a visiting dignitary. Instead, she had helped save 2 worlds and found a new path for her own life among the stars. The story of the alien queen who collapsed and the human guard who uncovered the truth had become something beautiful, a tale of friendship, courage, and the amazing things that can happen when different worlds choose to help each other instead of turning away.